but we're here to bring you all the conversations as usual, the ones making the headlines, starting with the big three, going into the health and lifestyle segment at about 5 p.m. And then we continue, of course, with more from you, as well as, just pretty much you who's listening anywhere. We appreciate you for being a part of the show at all times, from when we first go live on the morning show, the Morning Crossfire with Itodo, till what's happening in Abuja. It's currently being piloted by Radio's finest, Gabriel Spector. And then, of course, on the sunny side, conversations with the one and only amazing. I heard someone refer to the duo, Amazingly Fortunate. That was an interesting one. How are you doing, Fortunate?
Very well, thank you.
Did I just say Fortunate? Oh my
Yes.
God. How are you doing, Fortune?
Very well, thank you.
How are we going to tag team now? What's the name going to be? If it's Amazingly Fortune on the sunny side, what do we call you on Hard Facts?
We can do Somi for Fortunate Somi.
It is well. Anyway, it's good to have you here as usual.
Thank you.
And it is good also to get in on the conversations with you, our listeners, as well. My name is Somi. That's SOMI, short for Apenosomi. Welcoming you today. Some say I can also be referred to as the Anemuye Kombakara one of Nigeria Info. It's not too much of a tongue twister. Feel free. Otherwise, we keep it simple at Somi. Now, on Hard Facts this Tuesday afternoon, I've got my guest in the studio who is going to be joining us to make sense of some of the very difficult conversations that we tend to have on Hard Facts. He's a friend of the family. He is family, as a matter of fact. Fortune Agula Musa is with us. Hi, Fortune. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Somi. How's it going?
Very good to have you here. It's going very well as it can go.
Great. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us as always. All right, we start off with insecurity, or rather the state of insecurity in Nigeria. As you know, at least once every week, we like to give you a bit of a security roundup, let you know what's going on with some of the stories that made the headlines in terms of security situations, probably a few weeks back or a couple of months back, as the case may be, depending on what has been resolved and what hasn't been resolved. So we're going to be looking at two key developments, if you will, or one more of an update and then another one, a development as far as insecurity in our country is concerned. That will be our first touch points this afternoon. And we'll start off with a situation that has developed or continued in Plateau State after the very first rather unfortunate incident during the Palm Sunday, I believe, yes, Palm Sunday. That was the first time in a long while, if you will, that we had a security situation break out in Plateau State. And if you remember very well, there were a number of responses. There was that of the governor. There was also that of the president himself, who went there and pledged, if you will, that insecurity was going to be a thing of the past in Plateau State. Say again? Hello, Fortune.
Who went to the airport in Plateau State?
Yes. He went to the airport in Plateau State and then pretty much condoled with the people and told them that as long as he had come, there were not going to be any issues again. But reports show that ever since that day, April 2nd, when he visited Plateau State to condole with the people over the March 29 attacks on Angwan Rukuba in Jos North local government area, where 28 people were confirmed killed and others injured, more attacks have happened. Some reports have it as many as 50 people killed since then. Some have it at 60. Whatever the case is, one more death is one death too many. The president had met with stakeholders and victims' families to assure them that his administration was committed to ending what many described as incessant attacks and killings in the state. He said, and I quote, "This will not repeat itself. The best solution," he had said, is to be just, the kind of justice that people like us grew up knowing. He said then that he could understand why the past was not a source of lesson. He couldn't understand why the past was not a sort of lesson for the people, and, talked very, very strongly and condemned very strongly the activities and the killings in those areas. But again, like I said, it's been back to back since then. His visit was on April the 2nd. On April 5th and 6th, no fewer than 4 people, including farmers and a herder, were killed in a string of attacks. You have April 7th with another attack where it was a 300-level student that was killed by some gunmen who attacked the area. On April 8th, April 9th, April 11th, April 12th, 19th, the 26th, the 27th, almost every day back to back, even going into the month of April, from the 4th to the 6th, all the way to the 7th, and May 9th, what I think was the last recorded attack happening in Plateau State rather. 8 farmers were killed in that one, 6 others injured when gunmen attacked Sabonlai, Gangari, and Ganarop and Raccoon communities in Barkin Ladi local government area of the state. So the president was there. He spoke quite strongly. The governor spoke as well, but this is looking more like a statement that is not yielding results. I'll come to you right away, Fortune. What do you think is the major problem, that we're seeing as far as the Plateau State situation? They say insecurity in Nigeria has different faces, but within Plateau State, with the president visiting, making strong statements, promising, I think, installation of about 5,000 CCTV cameras, you are having incidents recorded per day. What do you think is the problem? Why is the president's statement not amounting to much of anything from what we're seeing, and how can we fix this?
I mean, so the first and obvious answer that I would give would be the fact that, the president's statement, the government statement, has been proven not to carry the kind of weight that you expect that the government should be able to wield. In terms of, because, I mean, look at the reports we just looked at. It was almost as if the security situation was giving its own response to the statement, because the president was very clear about that situation never occurring again. Now, if we have more than 5 different independent situations that are similar to what the president spoke about, it means we're in a very scary place in our nation right now, where the president can speak and nothing will happen. This is the kind of situation that makes that you would find only in a failed republic, in a place where you can say that that the rule of law no longer has its sting, that the statements of government no longer translate to action. Because if there was commensurate action, yes, we're talking about the installation of CCTV cameras, probably some deployment of men and all of that. It means, therefore, that we are likely to be dealing only with symptoms and not with the root causes of this security situation. We may be paying lip service to the situation rather than dealing with the core actors in this security situation. Incidentally, after these 50 or 60 alleged people have been killed, today we have news of, the appointment of a new special assistant on homeland security.
Yes, we're going to talk about that as well.
And we're going to talk about that. So at the end of the day, it just tells me, and it's a scary thought, to think that the highest authority in the land, the highest authority that is to oversee the implementation of the dictates of the constitution of our nation, can come up with such a statement and nothing has changed. So I think to a great extent that it is a slap on the face of the government, and if the government has any shame, it would do, what sane governments do in other places. They would admit to the fact that they have failed concerning the security situation and either, vacate so that other people who probably have answers can come in, which we know never happens in Nigeria, or, come up with a visibly different line of action. But unfortunately, the government and all political actors at this point are distracted. They're distracted by party activity. They're distracted by the runoff towards the 2027 elections, distracted by who will be the people to reckon with as the elections come forward. What party is the opposition party? How do we play our game so that we're ahead of the situation? I think it's more of such conversations in the corridors of power than a head count of the number of people who have been killed in Plateau State since the last that Easter Sunday attack that we spoke about. Incidentally, I was your guest the Monday after that Sunday, and we spoke about some of these things, and we talked about how, we only have gotten used to our government reacting to situations rather than proactively coming up with strategies for some of these things never to happen in the first place. So we are reacting.
Okay. Let's take a quick beat. We'll come back and discuss some more on this. This is our first story on Hard Facts, the Big Three today. More to come after this.
My friend.
Welcome back. It's still your number one talk station, 95.1 Nigeria Info. And we have kicked off the Big Three this afternoon with the security roundup, looking at the situation in Plateau State, where it has been pretty much back-to-back every other day, if not every day. Like, I went through the timeline. It pains me to do this, but pretty much from the very day the president left, there were reports of killings, attacks happening across Plateau State from April 5th all the way to May 9th, almost every day since then. Let's hear what residents of the state had to say concerning the president's statement and the developments afterwards. Rang Tengwong, spokesperson of Birom Youth Molders Association, said President Tinubu's statement during his visit had not improved security in the state. He said, and I quote, "To us at BYM, Mr. President's promise to end the killings has ended in a statement because even the day he came, there was an attack. Since the very day he left, I think there has been not a single day that we will wake up without attack. The number of people killed since Mr. President left, we have lost over 30 persons, which has outnumbered the people that were killed in Angwan Rukuba. So this is just a statement. We have not seen the real dynamics or things changing in terms of security in Plateau State, rather things getting worse. This is because you can hear of an attack even in broad daylight, people being ambushed as early as 7 a.m. You can hear of people being killed as at 4 p.m. Where did the attackers follow to launch the attack? He was asking. One of the attacks was launched around the highway. Where did the attackers follow, considering that there are checkpoints before the attackers carry out attacks, and where did they vanish to? We also had the chairman of MACBAN, Ibrahim Yusuf Babayo, speaking, saying that though the president's visit was a welcome development, the statement has apparently turned out to be merely political, being that he's a democratic leader. The visit has not yielded any results, he said, because statements alone cannot provide solutions unless all parties agree to live peacefully. No matter the amount of effort by the government officials, religious and community, as well as groups, must take movements to peace to achieve the people cannot move wherever they want. The problem must be addressed within, not from outside. Of course, he said the president's role in peace it must be collaborative. The president comes here more than 100 times. If people are not committed to peace, their problem not be solved. This is the chairman of MACBAN speaking on this. And of course, when you look at the situation around insecurity in Plateau State, like I was saying, Fortune, insecurity apparently has different faces. What do you think? I mean, if we were to go by the chairman of MACBAN's statement, do you think that it is really not just a matter of the president, but also of the people? And what do you think that the people can do to bring lasting peace in Plateau State? Because even if the president were to deploy the 5,000 CCTV cameras, I mean, will it make any difference, according to, if we're to go by the chairman of MACBAN's logic? And also, the president apparently pledged 2 billion naira to the efforts in Jos as well, in Plateau State. So what are your thoughts on this? Is this too complex, really, that it must be the president working alongside the people, or can the president just say the word and it's done?
So, I mean, by just saying the word and it's done, I think we've tried that theory. That's why we're talking about this report. He spoke the word and it wasn't done. He spoke the word, the situation has not improved. He came to the state, even though, of course, just as far as the airport, he came to the state, as a show of force, as a show of commitment. He made a statement, and he didn't just make a statement. Forgive me, there's a lot of noise in the background because where I am. He didn't just make a statement. He made a promise. He made a promise and said it would never occur again. Yet, almost immediately, occurrences began, and many people have lost their lives after that. So obviously, the statements are not the way to go. And that the last time I spoke about this, I highlighted the situation of a particular community in Zamfara State that spoke about how they had enjoyed relative peace for a long period because the people of the community had found a way to negotiate their peace, the terms of their peace with the terrorists and the bandits that were terrorizing them, and also to come up with a way of securing themselves, right? That they invited the government of the day into a conversation that they presented to the government and then got the buy-in of the governor, and they were able to have some respite for at least a 3-month period. So, I mean, there is no security without intelligence gathering, without finding a common front for the victims, the residents of and the citizens of the environment. You know, there's no security architecture that works only on deployment of security personnel. And this is why I would have preferred, rather than the optics of just showing off, that, that the president, more than just summoning security chiefs to a high-level meeting, would turn this thing down to a grassroots matter, turn it into a grassroots issue. Make it difficult for foreign elements to be able to infiltrate any system. And I know they can do this thing because they've done it for politics. During the 2023 elections, for instance, the APC structure worked all the way to ward levels. They had their leaders at ward levels. They had their leaders who would carry out, the mobilization, the logistics, pick out community heads, pick out, from that level, and build a security situation where there is the training of the average person to understand how intelligence gathering works. Maybe not at the technical level, but at a level where they can contribute because their own welfare depends on it. this is not what I see with the conversations we're having concerning this. Everybody is politicizing the promises. We're politicizing the promises and saying, because I am so and so, and I have said this and that, it will never happen again. It's just like somebody who is making statements based on a faulty foundation. So if you ask me, just like the Macban president said, we the people have to be carried along. If, for instance, you are doing a deployment of security equipment and all of that to a particular area and all of that, has there been a sweep? Has there been a conversation between the people in the community and the personnel? Has there been an intelligence gathering kind of grassroots town hall arrangement that tells the security personnel exactly the fault line, shows the areas of vulnerability, and how, based on the investigation, there is a clear-cut line in terms of understanding how these miscreants have been operating, in terms of breaking their line of supply for ammunition and arms. Was it not just last week when we were speaking about the person who was accosted on the highway with bags of maize and loads of ammunition within the bags of maize? Have we cut off those supplies? There are so many arms, small arms. The proliferation of small arms is on a high level. In Plateau State alone, have we done a mop-up of arms? How are they having so much to carry out so many attacks? So these are the conversations. When President Yaradua carried out the amnesty program, one of the major things they did that time was to mop up on arms. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
It was one of the most surprising and most terrifying visuals we ever had on TV, to see how many or how much of arms already existed in the Niger Delta at the time. So it's a multifaceted issue. It's beyond just statements. You can't just come and then, of course, the second part that really gets to me is the fact that in Nigeria, and I've always said this, every problem we have, we think we can solve by throwing money at it. You're pledging 2 billion for what? For what? For armored personnel carriers, for bullets, for guns, for protective gear for the military personnel or for the police. What is it for? How does that, trickle down the process to the grassroots and bring about policing at the level where before a particular plot is carried out, it is nipped in the bud? These are the questions that we should be asking.
All right, let's take it to the phone lines and get your thoughts on it. As you who's listening right now, the situation in Plateau has degenerated quite rapidly ever since the president was there last, with the promise that it was never going to happen again. Who are we to hold responsible? Has the president done his part really? And is it left for other actors within the state to take up the responsibility of ensuring that there's peace? The chairman of MACBAN made quite the statement really and truly concerning the role that the people play. And he said it doesn't matter what the president does. If the people within don't want peace amongst themselves, and there will not be peace. So who should be responsible for ensuring that these conversations amongst the people are had? Because they say in Plateau State, the insecurity situation, the state of insecurity there is not a profit-driven one as you have in other parts of the Northwest where they're trying to make money from it.
Well, you see, this is the part, Somi, so sorry.
Yeah.
But this is the part I don't agree with the MACBAN president. I don't agree that it doesn't matter what the president does. It does matter what the president does.
Well,
however, it does not end there.
Okay.
That's the point can make it.
All right, I got you, Fortune. Let's hear from the people. 0809-597-4869. On WhatsApp, 0809-993-0137. The president has said never again. But what we've had is a situation that continued almost every other day. We're having as many as 60 people. If the president's pledge cannot stop killings, what then will? Let's talk. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Hello. Good afternoon. Yes, hello?
We can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Abraham. You see, the issue of Plateau State is a continuous issue because why I say it's a continuous issue is because a lot of time, the Minister of Defense, the Chief of Army Staff, the President, and the same language that nothing is going to happen again, this will be the last time, and blah, blah, blah. You see, it's very clear that some persons are actors to the whole situation because you cannot tell me that there's no security apparatus to maintain peace within a region because these people per se, where are they passing through? You understand? Okay, let's say most of the communities they are attacking are communities within the rural areas, maybe they are not within the town, and they are coming through the forest and other places to come and attack. Why can't you deploy the military? If the military are not doing it well, because there was a time the Plateau State indigene came out to say they don't want the military in Plateau, but they are compromising. Why can't you deploy the Nigerian police force there? You deploy the police force. If the indigene are complaining that the military are compromising, you deploy the Nigerian police force. We have a mobile force. We have a tactical team like the counter-terrorism. You deploy them and equip them. It is too much. This situation is getting out of hand that the government need to get involved into it truly before it turns to another situation. And why Plateau all the time? Why Plateau all the time? I don't really want to tag it as a religion issue, but I'm seeing it towards that angle. The government should do something about it before it generates another different thing. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. As much as there's a lot happening in Plateau, there's a lot happening in other states as well. But some have said that this one is different in that it's more of a settler herder kind of situation. So it may not necessarily have the same coloration as you see in other states. I just wanted to speak on that. Good afternoon.
Auntie Somi.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. The mayor, good afternoon, sir. This is Adeomi Daniel calling.
Welcome, Mr. Adeomi. Go ahead.
Thanks, Auntie. God bless you, man. God bless you. An issue of insecurity that we are talking about, all this Plateau, Benue, or the entire nation. We have a lot of questions to ask our leaders. All the security chiefs, their hands are not clean. It's not allegedly, my sister. They are making a hell of money from this insecurity. Just like what the last caller had. They are following to this country. They are not, how can you tell me they are not Nigerians? Why are you pardoning them? Why are they giving them a pardon house in Igombe? They pardon how many recently? Almost 744. Why are you pardoning people who are killing? Is it not to go back to what they are doing before? We have to ask our leader, why are they pardoning the people who are making people become widower, orphans? Why are they pardoning them? The chief of defense said they are our brother, Malame, what's his name? My prodigal son, what's his name? Former FPC, that guy, NSA.
Yes, Adeomi. Just
the former defense, the defense Matawane said they are our people. They are Nigerians. Before Buhari died, he said they came from Libya. Who are we going to believe now? The secretary and that you will hear military. They will tell you before this weekend, we neutralize 500. We neutralize 1 million. How are they resurface?
Okay.
How can you tell me you neutralize 200 today? Next tomorrow, they will not keep people in Plateau or Benue.
All right.
Things going on. But all our leaders should remember, all this money that they acquire illicitly well, they will give account to God. Our blood is in their head. Thank you, my sister. God bless you, Auntie Somi.
Thank you, Adeomi Daniels. Let's take a few more calls, then we'll go to the second story. Good afternoon.
Hello, Somi. Good afternoon. This is Belfry from Jabile.
Welcome.
We're talking about killing injustice. It's unfortunate that we have had this reoccurring over the years. And over the years, we've had promises from the governors we've had there, and even from the president in the recent time. It's scary that we have leaders that are not walking the talk. That a president will visit one of his region as small as Plateau, and we made a pronouncement that this will be the last it happened. And after some weeks, some months of him living there, we are still having killings, reprisal attacks. For me, it says a whole lot. Because if president cannot guard a region in a country, how much more the entire country? This is internal aggression. It is not even external yet. So we are just moving in this country by the grace of God. And that is why I also tell people not to believe words from politicians. They will come and tell you they will give you light if they don't do this, do that. But you can see that little just here. If we say all our armed forces will go there, they can settle the whole region and monitor inside, but they cannot give a word that will even stand a taste of time that people will be scared of and say, oh, what this man said is true, and they are matching it with his word. They cannot, these boys, if you see them, very small things, so that you can even be surprised that they can't handle them. They are the ones terrorizing just job.
All right.
So let's stretch it to other states and say the whole country. How will we be able to govern this country? May God help us, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right, thank you. I guess on the point that you made, Belfry, can we honestly rest the entire responsibility of this on the president? What is happening with the governor of the state, for instance? Unique to Plateau, this particular insecurity situation, I keep saying it. Apparently, Plateau has one of the most sophisticated early warning systems, and they have a heavy presence of specialized task forces. And where in other states you have these attacks often coming as surprises, in Plateau State, community leaders are said to often raise alarm days before an attack, as seen in the May 2026 situation, as alerts for Riom and Jos South were raised. Yet the security response, they say, frequently arrives only after the cleanup phase. So this in itself is a level of frustration, and it places some level of complicity on the state governor himself. Is it a case of negligence? Is it a case of helplessness on the part of the state governor, who is supposed to be capitalizing on what the president has said to ensure that peace comes to his state? That's another angle. Perhaps we can take it from there. I'll take two more calls on this and then we'll move on to the next story. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, welcome.
Yes. It's I want to say we have many tribes in this country, and all those other tribes that are doing well. If in somebody's land, we respect the laws of such land. Not that you come to somebody's land and start, you want to displace the owner of the land there, you want to come and take over the land. It is not as easy as that. So let those that are strangers in Jos should leave Jos and go to their own lands where they are indigenous. Allow the indigenous in such a place have their peace. And you can even see, even within our security forces, there are some that are sympathetic to what is happening, and they are supporting us. We have heard several complaints of just when they say that army and others, they are so like when they leave the area, invader will come and invade the area and keep people and go away, and nothing will happen to them. But when they try to defend themselves, issue will begin. They will start arresting the youth. Those are several complaints coming from this area. So let those that are strangers in the land, the owner of the land said they don't want you, you are giving them insecurity, go to your own land, you go. It's not something that is by force. Thank you very much.
Interesting. Good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon, Auntie Somi.
Yes, welcome, sir.
I talk.
It's going. We thank God. Go ahead, please. Your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Geoffrey calling from Jaya, Abuja.
All right, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, please. Proceed. Okay, Geoffrey, might have to let you go. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Auntie Stone.
Welcome.
My name is Ola calling from Cuba.
All right, Olatunji, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I should start by the point that our guest is that when it's time to pay, it's able for them to get the root of the local level and campaign, and there will be no issue. So I hereby to start. The people that are interested in politics, the politics people, they are different to the people that use security as business. By that time of campaign, they will not show because they don't have any concern. So these people, they are interested in insecurity. They are different people entirely. And I want to say, in every place of insurgence, I want to say there is different peculiarities over and over time in terms of maybe tribal bonds or religious bonds or based on or some kind of bond. So I want to use Lagos as an example. Lagos as an example, they have a template because of the leaders there. If you are blaming of the leader, because the over-pampering by the state leaders, by the bonds that bond them together, over-pampering, so proactive, right from the beginning. That's why this thing escalated. A president can come, because I want to really assure you, president may not even know what exactly positions he can do there because of the over-pampering, over-wide, and kind of bonds that have bound them together by hiding the real faces of these people that are after this thing. So that is why I see the president appointing a new homeland ministry, because despite the American and Turkey involvement and the appointment of new minister of defense, there seems to be like no solution because
Okay.
all military has been fragment. There is fragmentation because why I say this, there is some military apparatus in Nigeria.
All right, sir. For that, I'm not quite sure where that came from, but yeah, we did have that. I hope it wasn't too disruptive as far as the conversation is going. Perhaps we'll just take this time out now to resolve it, whatever that was, wherever it came from. So sorry about that. But yes, Hard Facts will continue with the big three conversations after this. Stay with us.
In the comfort of your home, on your way to work, in the midst of your daily activities. Your Let's Talk station is here to keep you informed. Only on your number one for talk, 95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's Talk. Let's Talk.
101.1 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to Hard Facts. Indeed, it's still Somi here, and my guest with me this afternoon is the mayor himself, Fortune Agula Musa. We started off on the big three today with a look at the situation in Jos, where despite the president's pledge to end attacks, there are reports of at least 50 people killed since then on almost a daily basis. And we've tried to see what the issue is and how we can get to a point where it's going to be resolved, particularly given the peculiarity of Plateau State. Some say that it is a people problem. It is not the president. And some say the president has the sole say in determining whether what is happening in Plateau will be put to an end completely. Well, on the president's end, just as I said before the break, we've got a special advisor on homeland security. This new term has been indeed added to Nigeria's security architecture, homeland security. And we've got a retired, we've got a retired Major General Adeyinka A. Fadewa, or Major General Adeyinka A. Fadewa retired, heading this particular office, if you will, in advisory capacity. It's still interesting. It's going to be quite a thing to see what this homeland security architecture is going to come to in terms of, placement, offices, who's heading it and all of that. Right now, the only thing that we know, at least that I've seen in the news, is that we have a special advisor on homeland security. What that will do for us remains to be seen. But let's move on to the second story this afternoon. You've got the chairman of INEC, Joash Amopiton, disclosing that really and truly, INEC cannot conduct elections in Nigeria without the NYSC. Recent developments show that they are planning to deploy over 1.4 million National Youth Service Corps members for 2027 general elections nationwide. If I'm not mistaken, in 2023, there are about 1.2. So now you're having an additional 200,000. And Professor Joash Amopiton speaking to say that INEC cannot conduct elections in Nigeria without the NYSC. So when we speak of election manpower, we're essentially speaking of your core members, is what he said. He said the neutrality and discipline enhance credibility at polling units nationwide. They are the most dedicated, he said, educated and patriotic election staff we have. He said that their presence strengthens public confidence in electoral outcomes, noting that core members who serve as ad hoc staff during elections nationwide form the backbone of our electoral process in every cycle. He referenced INEC's experience during the 2023 general elections as evidence of the importance of NYSC, as over 70% of the core members deployed, or rather over 70% of the ad hoc staff members deployed, that's representing about 850,000, were NYSC members and student volunteers. Now, this probably is not such a big deal, when you think about it, except you consider the fact that he's saying that elections cannot happen without NYSC members in the country. And then also you are looking at the fact that in terms of scale, we're looking at more than what we had in 2023, probably year on year, there is an increase. But the concern that some people are having is the matter of security for these core members. That's one. Secondly, is the question of whether really and truly they are the best people to withstand the pressures that come on election day at the polling booths to ensure that we are having indeed a very credible elections. For the core members who don't want to be there, should they have an opt-out clause? If a Nigerian feels their life is at risk, should they be compelled to serve as ad hoc staff under the guise of national service? These are some of the questions that we're asking today. Fortune, let's get your thoughts on this, please.
Okay, so the truth is, with the army of core members that we have, over the past 3-4 election cycles, we've seen how, very, very pivotal their role has been. They give us a, that stockpile of available foot soldiers that can be, to help with the electoral process. And you would think that over the years, since, we started co-opting core members into the electoral process, that part of their training as core members would be, geared towards this, so that as they come, they are not just fresh, greenhorns coming into the field. For instance, has anything been added in their training that has to do with, how to conduct themselves on the field, how to secure themselves in case of attacks, in case of gunfights, in case of violence in particular polling areas, how to, you understand what I'm saying? Certain skills that kind of prepare them for the field that they are to go into. I don't see, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know that anything has been integrated into the core that prepares them for this assignment. What we see is cheap labor, available labor that we can use. Of course, elections have held in this country before we started using core members. So to say it's not possible is not, I don't think that is the way to look at it. However, yes, it's been a very, very effective way of handling our elections. But in the face of worsening security situations across the country, I would think that, normally when you are improving your processes, one of the things you would do would be to improve the skills of those that you are deploying. So that they know how to conduct themselves, how to secure themselves, and how to look out for red flags, so that we can still secure their lives even while they are carrying out this assignment. Now, apart from that, I mean, if it's talking about their capacity, they've been trained. These are young graduates. They've been through the rigors of university and tertiary institutions. They are good with routines. They are good with following instructions, and all of that. So of course, they will do a great deal for our electoral process. But I still fear that, I don't think we are learning. For instance, after the last elections, what reports came out that we are, and what recommendations came out of the last elections that we are implementing ahead of these elections, especially as it has to do with core members themselves, which we want to deploy.
All right. Another question, perhaps, that, some pundits are asking concerning this is, there seems to be, especially going by Professor Amubujan's statement, that elections cannot be conducted without NYSC members. There seems to be a continued heavy reliance on temporary youth labor to run our democracy. And so the question is, are we building a sustainable electoral institution? Are we just dancing around the fact that INEC doesn't seem to have the permanent capacity to conduct its own elections? What do you say to that? Fortune?
Okay. I think we're still sounding like we are in the 17th century or something. If we cannot conduct elections without this cheap youth labor that we talk about, why do we need things like the IREV? Why do we need things like the voters cards? Why do we need technology at all? Why have we tried to deploy technology? Across the world, elections are carried out and they are monitored real time. If you are going to monitor real time, it means that technology is your best bet, right? So to say we cannot conduct elections without NYSC members is making us sound like we do not plan in any time to fine-tune our processes using technology so that we can we can cut out, all of the human errors, all of the issues of compromise, all of the issues around corruption, ballot paper snatching, things like that. If we keep sounding like it is impossible, then we keep looking away from what is possible. So I think that we should be deploying our young people more towards some more profitable more engaging ventures than manual basic things like sitting down to register people during elections, taking a head count and things. These are the most educated sector of our economy, the strongest parts, the most productive, the ones who are in their productive years. I mean, we should be planning towards transitioning. We should be talking about how we should transition from depending on this cheap youth manpower to improved technological processes if we are looking at the future. However, I think this statement was just to justify the fact that we are still going to use core members for the next election, so don't expect anything different. I think that was what it was about.
All right, then let's go to the phone lines once again. If you have a thought or two on this conversation, the INEC chairman saying that, in his words, I dare say INEC cannot conduct elections in Nigeria without the NYSC speaking to the increased number of deployments that they are having to act as ad hoc staff across all the elections that are going to be held in 2027. What are your thoughts? Let's talk. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Somi, good afternoon to our brother, Fortune. My name is Emeka.
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
The question is the best election that was conducted in this country during the era of Professor Humphrey Wosu. May God rest his soul. It's still the best election so far. The NYSC they're not used. I'm not sure. I was not born then. But NYSC was not used. But it still remains the best, freest and fairest election up to today. So why are they saying that without the NYSC, we can't conduct a meaningful election? Just because every year, every election cycle, they vote. This coming election now, don't be surprised, this thing will go up to 200 or 250 billion. And then you see, refer back to using an NYSC member. Just like a person said, there are other things that could be profitable in. Look at the issue of our security sector, the economic sector, even the educational sector. A lot of other things that should have been posted about every year. And most of them even risk their life because when I was serving, some of my mates went to do this thing. Some of them never came back alive. I don't want to even go through that. So it's not, they must not say it is a must. They can devise other means like this technological advancement. Ghana conducts election. Other countries conduct election. They use their listing. Thank you very much.
All right, Emeka. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
My name is Adiola Victor from Visa Library.
All right, go ahead.
Hello.
I can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes. You see, if parents have their way, they will not allow their children to take part in the next election because of the insecurity in the country. We should not risk the life of these young Nigerians because of elections, because of desperate politicians. Politicians who don't care about Nigerian masses, who don't care about people. They want to risk the lives of these young men and women. In fact, if parents have their way, they will not allow their children to take part in this election because these politicians are desperate and they are not ready to allow free and fair election. So, parents, well, I don't know what parents will do, but it is not the right decision. Let INEC look for other staff. INEC has a lot of staff. Let them go and bring all their family members and train them for this election so that they should not reach the life of this young Nigeria. Thank you.
All right. The professor speaking talked about the fact that these core members have neutrality and discipline, and these are some of the things that enhance credibility at polling units nationwide. Don't you agree with that fact? At least to a large extent, a number of the NYSC core members are seen to be neutral. What are your thoughts on that? Someone said, well, for the most part, a lot of them are 20-something-year-olds, many from humble backgrounds. The problem is not that they want to be neutral or that they want to be disciplined, but that it's the forces that they go up against. You're looking at powerful local politicians. Is it realistic or even fair to expect them to be the primary buffer against electoral malpractice? That's another angle to the conversation. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon.
Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Abdul calling from Maitama.
All right, Abdul.
Without NYSC, we can conduct free and fair election. From day one, from the appointment of this present INEC chairman, there is a lacuna, collaboration between him and the government of the day. So this is an excuse for him to manipulate the 2027 election, and whatever happens in 2027 election, whether with the NYSC or with whatever organization they are going to use to conduct the election, if it rings, let him receive the consequences of his own wrongdoing. And that is the truth of the matter. Nigeria can protect their own votes. At any point in time, we have credible people in Nigeria, organization, non-governmental organization, corporate organization, private security organization that will go there and make sure the election is being free and fair election without the NYSC or whatsoever. So the truth is of the matter, there is an issue on ground that they are trying to manipulate the election of 2027. And I'm praying this coming election is going to be smooth election without being free and fair election, which you want the government of the day, collaboration with INEC during 2027 election. They couldn't be able to give even the opposition party chance to conduct themselves and able to face them in the field in 2027. Thank you very much. This is my own take.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Abdul, we've had elections that some have deemed to some extent free and fair, where core members were a part of the, the election body, if you will. Yeah, they acted as ad hoc staff, and some deemed it free and fair. So to say right now that them using core members is an effort to manipulate might be a bit testy. Perhaps the core of this conversation is more on him saying that without them, it would not be. They will not be able to have elections. It's more like saying this is the plan that they're having going forward. They're always going to be a part of the election architecture. Let me use that term, if you will, which I guess is what is more problematic than anything. But to say that right now, them using core members is manipulation, that's quite the angle. Let's look at this very quickly. Somi and Fortune, good afternoon. Mike from Abuja. INEC chairman just sounded like one of the misguided leaders. I don't expect anything good from him. Who knows? Okay. Okay. I'm just going to leave it there. All right, we've got one more story to look at. I'll just run it by you very quickly and then go back to the phone lines again, and then we can have that conversation. Well, speaking about elections still, there is concern around former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's chances of making it to the 2027 polls. Recent reports show that the court case determining his eligibility has been moved to May 15 for hearing. May 15 for hearing is what we're being told is going to be the date before his eligibility can be determined. This coming in the wave of a number of people, going to the streets, advocating that he should run for elections in 2027. Well, Justice Peter Odulifo of the Federal High Court in Abuja gave the deadline of May 15 for a definite hearing in the suit filed by lawyer John Mary Gideobi seeking to stop former President Goodluck Jonathan from contesting 2027 general elections. The judge yesterday shifted the hearing dates following the absence of the plaintiff, John Mary Gideobi, and his lawyer in court without any information. Apart from the absence of the plaintiff, who is a legal practitioner, the INEC and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, who were second and third defendants in the matter, were also not in court. Following the absence of the plaintiff and two defendants, Chief Chris Uche San, representing former President Goodluck Jonathan, applied to the court to strike out the suit for lack of diligent prosecution. Having joined issues with each other, Uche said the suit is liable to dismissal and should be dismissed with a 5 million naira cost to be awarded against the plaintiff and payable to Jonathan, former president. He said that from all indications, the plaintiff has abandoned the suit and ran away upon citing the preliminary objections raised against it, adding that the court is a busy place and not for unserious matters. Justice Lifu, however, noted that there was no evidence of service of hearing notice on INEC and the AGF to appear in court for the hearing of the suit, adding that lack of service of hearing notice is fundamental. And so rather than striking out the suit, he said he'd rather bend backwards to accommodate the plaintiff and the two defendants for the last time. So in 3 days' time, Justice Lifu expects that hearing notice be served on the plaintiff and they should make their appearance in court. He's also asking the plaintiff, John Mary Gideobi, who is filing this case, is seeking an order to restrain Jonathan from presenting himself to any political party as an aspirant for the 2027 general elections. And he's also asking the court to stop INEC from accepting, processing, or publishing Jonathan's name as a presidential candidate. He quoted some sections of the Constitution, but we'll get to all of that after this timeout. Stay with us.
It's all talk and more talk on Nigerian's #1 talk station.
This country needs, needs a sheriff.
In some particular societies, especially in my tradition, a woman is not